Welcome to EVOLV, where we have fearless, unfiltered, unapologetic conversation with host Chanel Spencer, author, speaker, and CEO of Maximum Evolution. Are you ready? I hope you're ready.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to a new episode of EVOLV, where we have fearless, unfiltered, and unapologetic conversation. And I am super excited because, as you know by now, we have a special series for a project that we're working on, the Evolution Effect Anthology. And I have a special guest who is actually one of our authors who is here to share just a little bit about her chapter, just a little bit, because you have to buy the book so you can get all of the tea. But I'm super excited because we have Arica Quinn here. Yes, say hello to the beautiful people.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, I can tell we're gonna have some fun today. But anyway, just a little bit about Arica. She was born in Inkster, Michigan, and currently lives in Aurora, Colorado. Arica believes that trauma is either transferred or transformed. And so May 2020, she launched her business, Queen to Queen. Wow, amazing. Congratulations. She developed this business as a new certified authorpreneur, releasing her book, Breaking the Silence After Trauma, 7 Keys to Regaining Your Voice. Her mission is to help develop the mindset and leverage the skills necessary for them to stop transferring their trauma, instead transform the trauma in order to regain their voices and discover success. And let me not forget, she is Miss Colorado America Elegance Lady 2020. Okay. And the former reigning Miss Colorado Plus America 2019. Yes. And I see here that you're a plus size model. Go ahead. Yes, I love it. And you're a multiple book author. So yes, I love it. I'm super excited. And just a little bit about Arica and her chapter. So in the Evolution Effect, we're literally talking about our stories and sharing our stories of how we broke patterns, overcame adversities, and stepping into our greatness. And as you see, Miss Arica is not playing, starting her business, having books coming out, a queen, like yes. So her chapter is Forgive the Little Girl and Transform the Woman. That is powerful. What made you choose that title?
Because as I thought about breaking the patterns, and as I looked at the challenges that I had to go through, many of my challenges occurred when I was a little girl. And then those challenges evolved into other challenges. And so as I went through my process, I began to understand that until I went back to that little girl and told her that I was sorry and forgave her and helped her understand that what happened was not her fault, I couldn't move.
Right.
And so in order for the woman to become, I had to deal with the little girl first.
Right. Yes. They literally say that you have to go back and have like legitimate conversations with your inner child, because a lot of times the way that we currently act or are triggered or react to certain situations or how we behave literally can stem from the experiences that we have as a child. So I absolutely love your title, and your story is super powerful and just different things that we've been exposed to or experienced as children, and literally dictates who we are as grown adults. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
So tell us a little bit about your chapter. Like what made you share the parts of your story that you did, and what are your hopes with sharing your story?
I chose to write about what I chose to write about because I think sometimes as people, I won't just say women, because there's men who've experienced some of the same situations that I experienced.
Right.
And I think sometimes we need to know that somebody else gets us.
Right.
And I thought, what a better way to let others know that somebody else out there understands where they're coming from. Like, I know why you might be acting the way you act,
Right.
or talking the way you talk, or doing some of the behaviors that you are doing, because I've been there. And one of the things that I tell people all the time, I haven't arrived. Transformation is a process. It is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
And so I'm still transforming the woman. And so my hope is that people will understand that if you stop and look where you were and look at where you are, you'll see that there's been some transformation.
Right. Right.
And to just keep transforming.
Right.
Because you get better and better and better and better every day.
Right. So I was reading your chapter, and the piece that like gut punched me and knocked me to the floor was when you talked about how you were molested as a child, how you were raped in high school, how you were gang raped in college, and how ultimately you blamed yourself for everything that happened to you. And specifically you said, I grew up believing that every bad outcome, either in my own life or in the lives of those connected to me, was somehow always my fault. Right? So
Yeah.
in going through those experiences, how did they impact you as you were growing into an adult? And also, how did it feel to write that and let it out?
Well, I'll kind of reverse the question a little bit, and I'll start with how it made me feel to write that. It's freedom for me. That's why I started writing, and I became an author, because that is my freedom. I can release that into the atmosphere, because if I release it, can't nobody hold it against me.
Right.
And so for me, it's liberating and it's freeing when I get the opportunity to share a piece of my story. Going through that and dealing with that, again, that was why it was so critical that I went back and I talked to the little girl.
Right.
Because that's where that whole thought process started, that it was my fault, because I was told it was my fault. And I believed it was my fault. And so for me, the way that translated as I grew up, as I went through being a teenager, as I went through being a young adult, as I became an adult woman, even up till now at age 50, I'm still, like I said, transforming. So I'm still working through some things, but it caused me to be very great at self-sabotaging myself.
Yes.
And that included from work to relationships to my home, whatever I put my hands to, because I thought everything was my fault, I didn't feel I was worthy of anything good. So if things got to seem like they were going too great for me, I'd ruin it some way, somehow.
Right. Oh my gosh, you're like literally talking to me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And so, and the other part of that was I became a great liar. Not so much that I verbally lied, but I knew how to wear the mask, honey, let me tell you. If you want to learn how to wear a smile when you are dying on the inside, I can teach you how to do that very, very well.
what? We could do classes. How about that? Like, what? You like, all right, you said so much. You're literally speaking to my soul, because I literally had a conversation yesterday about that. Like, because we've experienced traumas, and because we have gone through certain things, especially from an abuse situation, we literally know how to like be having a meltdown less than 5 seconds ago and coming out looking like we're ready to hit the stage, like literally. So when you say putting on a like, there, like, no lies detected at all, and it's a good thing in some aspects because you can pick yourself up, but it's a bad thing because then you can like literally be suffering, like dying on the inside, and no one would know, like ever, and that's why it's super important for you to be very, very aware of how you treat people and what you say to people, because you never know what someone has experienced or is currently going through. Like, you are so right, like so right.
Yes,
Yeah, sorry. You just kind of you made the hair of my arm stand up. Go ahead.
Visine and Clear Eyes were my best friends.
Mm-hmm. Right. Literally. Like, wow. So what did you do to help you to move past all of that and be who you are today?
Well, the first thing was I had to redefine. The biggest thing was I had to redefine what forgiveness is. Because when you look at Webster's Dictionary of Forgiveness, basically what it tells you to do is to forgive and forget. Now, that might help the person who did something to you, but that causes you to be in bondage.
Right.
Because you can't forget when traumatic things happen to you.
Yep.
You can't. It's literally impossible. And so I kind of rewrote, after doing a lot of reading and just really trying to understand this forgiveness thing, because how could I truly forgive myself if I really didn't know what forgiveness was?
Right.
And so I kind of rewrote what forgiveness looks like. And when I rewrote what forgiveness looked like, it made it so much more attainable. And so, what I came up with is forgiveness is to acknowledge the offense and the pain that has been perpetrated on you, and that the consequences of the offense are true, but to choose to relinquish negative feelings and to choose not to hold animosity towards the individual or individuals that have offended you.
Right.
So it allows me to say, hey, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. It allows me to say, hey, no, what happened to me is legit. And it's okay for me to say that what happened to me is legit. No, you don't get to run and hide from what you did to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the power now to say, I'm not going to hold it against you anymore. I'm going to release you, because when I release you, it releases me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be held up anymore. So I'm going to let you go about your way. But know that no. Every time you see me, you're going to know what you did to me. I may not bring it up no more.
Yes.
But I'm not going to let you off just willy-nilly and scot-free. No, you got to take your ownership. And so that's what it does. It causes that person to have to take ownership in what they did. And by you releasing them, it forces them to take the ownership, because then they got to be like, man, they'll sit there and they'll go, man, she don't treat me bad. She don't talk about me bad. She don't throw my name out in the streets. And I did that to her. How can she do that? Now you kind of have flipped the script.
Mm-hmm.
Now they got to deal with themselves.
Yes.
And so that was huge for me. When I came into that understanding, then it was easy for me to go to the little girl and say, yo, I forgive you. Now can you forgive me for holding this
Right.
against you?
Yes.
And
Oh my
that's what
gosh.
began to free me.
Hmm. And what you said was super important in regards to the forgiveness piece of it, because we have to realize that when we're forgiving, it's not because we're saying that what they did to you or how someone hurt you or what someone said was okay, but it's literally for you to release yourself from that situation, because holding on to it can just, as you said, can transfer into so many different things and impact you in so many different ways. And then also we have
Mm-hmm.
to realize that how people are and what people do or how people treat you is a direct reflection of that person, not you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's like a hard thing to, like when you said with placing the blame on yourself and suffering in silence and not wanting to say anything because of fear and all the other good stuff. Like that is super, super important, to forgive yourself and to free your inner child. Like, wow, like that was so powerful. That was so powerful.
It's so liberating.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not, like I said, transformation is a process. It's
Mm-hmm.
a journey and not a destination. And so I liken myself to an onion.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really take the time and peel an onion, it is layer after layer after layer. Like it's nothing but a bunch of layers.
Right.
And that's kind of how I liken myself to, because once I peel one layer off, there's a new layer exposed that I have to work through. But because I understand how that liberation feels,
Mm-hmm.
it might hurt to go through that next transformation, but I'm willing to go through it because I know what's on the other side.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Oh my gosh. You are preaching today. Do you hear me? Like, yes, you are literally dropping so many gems that so many need to hear. And just in what you've experienced, like that can like literally take somebody out. Like you experience you experience things that multiple people, you know what I'm saying? Like one person has one experience and it can literally like end who they are as an individual, and that's how they end up doing like doing extracurricular activities that impact them in a negative way. And you've had like so many of them, and for you to be who you are today just shows how strong you are, how you are dedicated to your growth and breaking the cycles for yourself and for your family. Like that's so amazing and so beautiful to see, because there are so many that don't have that same story, who might still be suffering, who might still be impacted by the things that happened to them as a child and the thing that's has happened to them maybe even yesterday, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
so important for everyone to understand that you have a voice and you can use it, and it's okay to share your story, because it is like you said, the most freeing. It's terrifying, but it's the most freeing thing that you could ever do, because holding it in, it's just like poisoning yourself ultimately,
Yes.
mentally, emotionally, physically, like in all ways. So it's super powerful. It's super important for you to share your story and forgive yourself. Like forgiveness, forgive yourself and forgive the people that have hurt you is super, super important. So
Yes,
wow,
it
like
is.
yes, I like love you. You already know that. Like this, let me say something. When I met Arica, I was like, okay, and she's just been like doing this, getting this done, and I'm just like, and I'm there rooting for her. Like her success and her winning is like me winning and me having success, because I love to see women who have gone through certain situations and have transformed and are shining their light as bright as can be. So I like congratulate you for everything that you've accomplished, everything that you're going to continue to achieve. I think it's like super, super amazing. And you literally inspire me. Like I like when I first heard your story, I was like, what? I think that was during your conference. When
Mm-hmm.
yes, I was like, wait, what? Like, and you who said this? Oh, Pastor Cassandra, she said that we don't look like what we've been through, and like you would never know if you didn't share. And then in you sharing, look how many other people opened up about what they've been through and how you connected with so many other women who have gone through so many challenges. It's just like, it's such a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. And I mean, it's been mind blowing, to say the least. Because like you said, it's very terrifying to step out like that. But I think for me, if I could be just a tad bit selfish,
yes,
I love the reaction of people when I share my story, because there are people who've been around me my whole life,
right,
who had no clue.
Right.
And for them to look at me and go, huh?
Right.
You know, what did you just say out of your mouth?
Right.
It's kind of like, yeah, and, and that's, and, that's the title of my memoir is You Know My Name, but Not My Story. Because there's a lot of people who know Arica, but they really don't know Arica.
Right.
And now I'm at a place where I can share, no, this is who the real Arica is. Will the real Arica please stand up? And so I'm able to share that now. And I love it, because what I've found is there are so many others who were hurting like I was hurting. And they were just waiting for me to share my story. You don't know who you are going to help just by what you share about yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's something huge, and that's something that I'm learning.
That's like super, super important. I just want to share one other piece that I felt was like super powerful. You said the traumas, challenges, adversities, however you choose to name them, are no longer being transferred in my life, resulting in negative behaviors, unhealthy relationships, and self-sabotage. Now they are transformed into self-love, self-forgiveness, healthy relationships, and knowing that I am worthy of good. I have regained my voice and empowerment. Ugh. That just made me so happy. When I read it, I was like, yes. I wish I had cheerleading pom-poms in my house. I was like, yes. I was so like, it's just so beautiful to see. And people just need to understand that literally you can make the decision to want to change your life, to change the spectrum of your life, the direction in which you are going, and step into your greatness. And that's why it was so important for me to develop this project, because like this story needs to be heard. Like, you know what I mean? And how did it feel when you finally felt like you were on the other side of who you have been for so long?
Man, it opened up a whole new world. If I could take that song from Aladdin, like literally, it opened up a whole new world, because before this, you could not tell me I'd be a plus size model.
Right.
You could not tell me I would be a pageant queen. You could not tell me that I would be an author. You could not tell me that I would be launching my own business. Like there's if you'd have came to me then, I'd have looked at you like you had lost
crazy, right?
All your marbles completely. But once I begin to come to the other side, I just look at where I'm at. And let me say this was in a short span of time, because it was at age 33 that was my break. That was my break point. That was my aha moment. That was the moment I was able to go back and look at that little girl and say this: I am only 50. And so I had to work through a whole lot of junk. And
Wait, you 50?
Yes.
You don't look like you're, girl. Let me see. I really want to say a statement, but I don't care. Black don't crack. Okay, continue. Go ahead. I was trying to hold it back, but listen, like go ahead.
And so it's not been that long because I didn't become an author till 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I walked into my first pageant in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I started modeling in 2019. I launched my business in 2020. So this has not been long for me. But God said, you were in bondage long enough.
Right.
Let's get you free.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do it now. And so this is where I am now. And it's because I made the determination within my mind,
Mm-hmm.
within my heart, and within my soul that enough was enough was enough.
Right.
And something had to shift.
Mm-hmm. Ah, so powerful, so powerful. And I'll just add that, it takes you to make that decision to want more for yourself, but also understand that you don't have to do it alone. Like, you can literally, like, for me, I got an executive coach to help me navigate through things, because sometimes you have blind spots, and sometimes other people, a third person's perspective can literally see something in you or help you to navigate through things, to give you a different set of glasses and goggles to look through, to help you to truly navigate and get to that next step in your life, to get through those next and new doors and becoming who you want to be and being free. I don't know if it was the same for you, Arica, but what would you say helped you to do so?
Let me say this,
Mm-hmm.
and not to minimize anybody else, but I'm speaking specifically to my people.
Mm-hmm.
Counseling and therapy does not mean you're crazy. It means you are wise enough to know that you need help.
Say that again. Say it louder for the people in the back, please, because I don't think they heard you. Say it again, please. Mm-hmm.
Counseling and therapy does not mean you are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It means you are wise enough to know that you need help.
Yeah.
It is okay to get the help. And that is what helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every counselor I went through, I had to go through a few to get to the ones that really were about the business of, that weren't clinical, if that makes sense.
Yes,
There's some counselors that are very textbook. And I needed, for my situation, I didn't need you to be textbook. I needed you to be heart book.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed you to feel where I was at, and then use your clinical expertise to help me navigate. That's what I did. And it took me a little bit to find that. But once I found that, I dug in, and it didn't take long for that. Now, let me tell you this. I've gone back multiple times, because depending on what layer I was dealing with, there were some layers that I needed some help.
Listen.
And to this day, if I come across a layer that I need help with, guess what I'm going to do again?
Go get that help.
Go get that help.
Exactly.
And so please understand that we have been so indoctrinated in our culture with things such as what's done in this house stays in this house. We don't talk about that. We sweep it under the carpet. You've got to be the one to say no more. And I had to be the one to say no more. I'm raising boys. They need a mama who's transparent.
Right.
Because I don't want them to have to end up with broken women and not know how to support those broken women. Because that may be who they end up with. God may put them with a woman who's broken because they have a mother who's triumphs.
Right.
And so I have to make sure that when I struggle, I no longer hide behind the closed door. I no longer sweep stuff under the rug. If I'm having a problem, I will tell you now. And if you ain't the one that's going to listen, I will find somebody who will.
Right.
So just to my people again, I say it one more time. Counseling and therapy does not mean you are crazy. It means you are wise enough to know that you need help.
Powerful. That is the absolute truth, because there's such a stigma about going to therapy or going to counseling, but at the end of the day, it's for the greater good of yourself and for your mental health and your emotional health and even your physical health at the end of the day. So just take that step, and there are so many resources that you can tap into and truly help to get you healed and transformed and having self-love and self-care and all of those things that we all need to have in order to truly function as our best selves, for sure. So I thank you for sharing again your story. It's like super powerful. I thank you for being a part of this project, because having the opportunity to share so many of you guys' stories is just like such an honor for me, and also for your transparency and putting yourself on the forefront to, as you said earlier, to help someone else. It just shows who you are as a person, and how you truly are dedicated to your growth and to helping others. So what's next for you?
Let's see. So as long as the travel bans stay open, I will be in Chicago in October, competing on the national stage for the Miss American Elegance pageant.
Yes.
I have 2 more books that I'm working on to launch, and I'm gonna hopefully be launching my own course entitled From Caterpillar to Butterfly, dealing with exactly what we've talked about here, this whole transformational journey.
Right.
And working on developing a podcast and my next women's retreat. So
Hey, listen, I told you, powerhouse. You hear me? She is like, this is what I'm doing, and this is what is happening, and make sure y'all tuned in. Period. I love it. Do you have any final words for the audience?
I will say these 2 things. One, remember, trauma is either transferred or transformed. And a quote that I developed over the years that I absolutely love simply says, "You cannot change what you will tolerate, but you can tolerate the changes you choose to make."
Wow. Yes. Yes. I love that. Oh my goodness. And how can we connect with you?
You can reach me on Facebook at Queen to Queen, or my personal page, which is Arica, Arica, the initial P, and Quinn, Quinn. You can also find me on Instagram at Queen, the number 2, Queens, Queens, voice. And then you can email me at queensvoice@gmail.com.
Perfect. Oh my gosh. Well, I thank you again for joining us on this lovely podcast, EVOLV. And I thank you again for being a part of this project and sharing your story. And I know that it's going to impact so many lives. So if you haven't gotten your copy of The Evolution Effect, please make sure you get it today, and make sure you read Arica Quinn's chapter, Forgive the Little Girl and Transform the Woman. I don't know how many things I can say to you again for just being so transparent and sharing your story and all that you're developing. Again, I'm super proud of you. And I think I've said I'm super proud of you in these past couple of months, like every other day, but I just love to see people stepping into their greatness and really just doing it and making things happen. It's just a really beautiful thing. But yes, and to my lovely listening audience, thank you again for tuning in with us. And if you haven't gotten your copy, make sure you get it today. Just saying. And thank you again to Arica for being here. And bye, beautiful people. See you again next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Evolve. Stay fearless, unfiltered, and unapologetic. Until next time, special shout out to all of our amazing listeners. You are truly appreciated. Follow our host, Chanel Spencer, at Chanel Spencer Now on Instagram and Facebook. Songs I'm From the South by D21 from Black Mob Entertainment off the 720 God album. Find him on Instagram at only D21.
I'm from the South. I'm from the South. Straight out the South, where hitters rock gold teeth straight out your mouth. My niggas don't know peace, fuck is you saying though? Homies, he playing though. Know my old dudes bring more than a candle. Bring the heat to them, there they keep talking. Know that they would end. Little dogs barking, step across the line, be south.